Maarif al-Quran. Surah number 1. Ayah number 4. 4. Translation. The Master of the Day of Judgment. Commentary. The third verse pays homage to Allah as the Master of the Day of Judgment or Requital. The word Malik has been derived from the root, milk, which signifies possessing a thing in such a manner that one has the right and power to dispose of it as one likes, see Qamus. The word din signifies requital. So, the phrase Master of the Day of Requital implies total mastery on the Day of Requital. But there is no mention of the thing or things to which this mastery or possession would apply. According to the commentary, al-Kashshaf, the phrase makes a general reference to cover everything. That is to say, on the Day of Requital the mastery over everything that exists will belong to Allah alone. The Day of Requital is real and rational. Before we proceed, let us consider two important questions. Firstly, what is this Day of Requital? Secondly, Allah being the Master of everything even today as much as on the Day of Requital, why does this verse specifically mentions the Day of Requital? The Day of Requital or the Day of Judgment is the day appointed by Allah to recompense good or evil deeds. The world is only the field of action, the place where one is required to perform one's duty, and not the place for receiving one's reward. The mere fact that man happens to be healthy and wealthy or powerful does not necessarily argue that he has won the pleasure and favor of Allah. Similarly, the mere fact that a man happens to be ill or poor or weak or miserable does not by itself indicates that he is the object of Allah's wrath. Even in the case of worldly life, would it not be a platitude to remark that a man sweating in a factory or an office does not consider it a misfortune? In fact, try to deprive him of this opportunity to sweat, and you would have earned his deepest displeasure. For beyond all this toil he can glimpse the reward he is going to get after 30 days in the shape of his wages. It proceeds from this principle that the greatest sufferings in this world are the lot of the prophets, and, after them, of the men of Allah, and yet we see them quite content and even happy. In short, physical well-being or worldly glory or luxury is no sure indication of one's virtue and truthfulness, nor is sorrow and suffering that of one's misdeeds and falsity. It may, however, happen that a man receives some punishment or reward for his deeds in this world. This never is the full recompense, but only a faint model which has been manifested to serve as an intimation or warning. The Holy Quran has spoken very clearly on this point. And we shall surely let them taste a nearer punishment, in this world, before the greater punishment, in the other world, so that they may return to the right path. 32:21. Such is the punishment, and the punishment of the other world is certainly greater, only if they knew. 68:33. The sufferings of this world, as even its joys, are sometimes a trial, and sometimes a punishment, but never a full recompense, for the world is itself transitory. What really counts is the joy or suffering that will endure forever, and which one will come to know in the other world beyond this world. Given the fact that good or evil deeds are not fully recompensed in this world, and the rational and just principle that good and evil not being equal in value, every deed should be rewarded or punished according to its nature, it readily follows that beyond this world there should be another world where every deed, big or small, good or evil, is to be judged, and then justly rewarded or punished. This the Holy Quran calls al-Akhirah, the world to come, or al-Qiyamah, doomsday or the Day of Judgment, or Yawm al-Din, Day of Requital. The whole idea has been explained by the Holy Quran itself. The blind are not equal with the seeing, nor the wrongdoers with those who believe and do good deeds. Yet you seldom reflect. The hour of retribution is sure to come, no doubt about it, yet most people do not believe. 40:58-59. Who is the Master? Now, we come to the second question. It should be obvious, on a little reflection, to everyone that the real master of every particle of dust in the universe can only be he who has created and nurtured it, whose mastery over everything is complete, having neither a beginning nor an end, covering the living and the dead, the apparent and the hidden, the seen and the unseen. On the contrary, the mastery of man is delimited by a beginning and an end. It has a before when it did not exist, and an after when it will exist no more. Man's mastery and control extends to the living, not to the dead, to the seen, not to the unseen, to the external aspect of things, not to the internal. All this would show to those who can see that the real master of the whole universe, not only on the day of requital, but even in this world, is no other than Allah. Then why should this verse specify the day of requital? The verses of the Surah al-Mu'min/Ghafir, chapter 40, serve as a commentary on the phrase under discussion, and provide a clear account of the day of requital. The real and complete mastery over everything, no doubt, belongs to Allah alone even in this world. Yet Allah Himself, in His beneficence and wisdom, has granted a kind of imperfect, temporary, and apparent mastery to man as well, and the Sharia, in laying down laws for worldly affairs, has given due consideration to man's limited right to ownership. But today, in possessing lands or money or power, which has been given to him by way of trial, man has always been prone to get drunk with pride and vanity. The phrase "master of the day of judgment" is a warning to man reeling in his forgetfulness and self-conceit, and an intimation that all his possessions, all his relationships with things and men are only short-lived, and that there shall come a day when masters will no more be masters and slaves no more slaves, when no one will own anything even in appearance, and the ownership and mastery, apparent as well as real, of the whole universe will be seen to belong to none but Allah, the Exalted. The Holy Quran says, "The day they will present themselves before Allah, and nothing of theirs will remain hidden from Allah, even apparently." Whose is the kingdom today? Of Allah alone, the One, the Mighty. Today everyone will be recompensed for what he has done. Today no one will be wronged. Allah's reckoning is surely swift. 40:17